there, I'm Cindy Russell, and this is Spotlight on Souris for April 6, 2023. I am here with Brenda Morris and Cathy Williams, and you ladies are part of the Westman Mental Wellness and Suicide Prevention Association. That is a mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
What exactly is the association?
Well, we are a registered charity in Canada, and how this all came about is it's really a story of grief and healing. My husband and I, we lost our son to suicide in 2009, and so there for quite a few years I struggled with where life was taking me, or where I should be going. So there was a walk outside of Winnipeg at Oakbank, Manitoba. So we decided, and it was same scenario, a lady had lost her child to suicide, so she was hosting a walk. So we went to Oakbank and went to this walk, and it was a good event. There's a lot of people attending. It was a positive event. So we went the next year. And then I got thinking as we were walking, like, why don't we do this in Souris? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where it grew from. So for the first few years of the walk, like we've been doing the walk in Souris since 2015. We were kind of working with this lady in Oakbank, so we were under the umbrella, the organization was called Andrew Dunn. And it worked out okay, but they wanted to kind of dictate how we ran our organization. Okay. Mm-hmm. So obviously, like, the needs of Souris, Manitoba are different than Oakbank, because Oakbank is kind of like a bedroom community of Winnipeg. So that's how we decided, we would start our own organization. So we did that, and went a few years doing that. Then we decided that we wanted to have our own registered charity status. So that's how we came about that big, long name, because when Revenue Canada looked at our application, they said, your name should reflect what you're doing. Okay. And so that's the day that
and that is what you're doing, right?
Yeah. Yes. So, so we've been in Souris for a few years now, and looking forward to our walk this year. We missed a few years, of course, with COVID and stuff, but this will be our sixth walk, I believe.
Sixth walk. Yeah. Nice. So what area of the province do you guys encompass?
Well, we don't really have any defined lines. We say Westman, so basically from Saskatchewan border over to like number 5 highway, like Carberry. Okay. From the US border up to number 1. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean that's all where we go. Like we had last year, we had a request come from a seniors group that was up in the Hamiota area, and they were looking for some assistance and came to us, and so we graciously, we can do something for you, and so there's no defined line. I mean, if you lived in Churchill, probably not. Maybe not. But yeah, we just kind of label it as Westman.
Perfect. What are your goals? What are the goals of the association?
Well, for a while, we actually went under the acronym EASE, which stood for Educate, Advocate, Support, and Empower. So those are the goals that we strive for. And so for education, we want to educate people to better understand mental illness. So right now, we're getting better. There's still a lot of stigma and negativity attached to mental illness. And so if we can educate people to realize that mental illness is no different than physical illness, mm-hmm. It's just that, sometimes it's hard to understand what you can't see. Yeah. So that is the education portion. And then to advocate, we want to be a community voice to advocate for mental wellness. So what we're doing right now is kind of looking at areas where potentially we could advocate, network, to get support for projects. And again, then that's kind of the support part, because now we have a cause. We've networked, we've found out what we need to do, how we need to do it. Now we'll do the support. So we'll look at whether it's money, a grant, or a workshop or a speaker, then that's where we'll bring the support in. And the empower part, I think, is a very important part because we want to help people to discover their personal strengths, and then that can, through that, discover, like, make it a positive change in their life. I think we all have personal strengths. Sometimes we just need a little help in finding what that personal strength is. So,
And utilizing that personal strength. You might know you have a strength, but because of your mental illness, you focus on
that,
the weakness part of
right,
stuff, right?
yeah. So I think that empowerment is a very important part of what we're trying to do.
How large is your association, and is it just people from Souris?
Well, no, they're not all from Souris. The organization kind of started with Cathy and her husband, and then slowly grew from there. Up till about a couple weeks ago, I would say the group was about 10, but we have had a couple new people come on board in the last week or two, so that's great. But our vision is to actually have a broader spectrum of people on the committee. Right now, our committee is basically from Souris, Brandon, Ninette, Rivers, Belmont. So it would be nice to get representation from other areas in the region. So while most communities, a lot have similar issues, but communities have their own unique issues as well.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to get a broader array of people on board that can bring their voice from their community. Right now our meetings are done by Zoom, so it's easier for us to get together. We meet once a month, and it's easier to connect with everybody.
Perfect. So this is a nonprofit association. How do you get your funds to run your programs?
So most of our funds come through our fundraising projects. So our walk is our main fundraiser. We also last year started having a golf tournament. So those are the main, but we also accept donations from individuals, corporations, whatever. And because we are a registered charity, we can now issue tax receipts too. So I think that's been a big thing for us to accomplish, being able to do that.
So besides like the walk and the golf tournament you said, is there any other fundraising that you kind of do or would be thinking of doing?
We do different events. We've been invited to Carberry for a couple of years now. We take part in their farmers market. They asked us to come and do a barbecue once during the summer, so we raise funds like that. We sell tickets, but the biggest fundraiser is our annual walk. We are starting to pick up now people that are approaching us and saying, how can we help? For example, last year, Century 21 in Brandon stepped up and approached us and said, we do a charity golf tournament every year, and we pick 2 charities. We would like to pick you guys.
Oh, how nice.
Which was great. So they put on their tournament in Brandon, and we ended up getting gifted $10,000.
Wow.
So $10,000 with what we do goes a long way. And with the money we make at the walk, the more we're going to be doing, the more money we're going to maybe need. But the biggest thing is having the support out there and people stepping up and say, hey, I want to help. How can I help?
Yeah. So this walk for mental illness, can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so our walk is our biggest fundraiser. We've been growing every year since we started. So last year we had around 130 people attend, and we raised $10,000. I mean, that was total, but you know, it was.
That's still a good.
It was still yeah, it was very good. So our walk this year is on May 13th, and we meet at the curling club. So we, our walk is, last year we incorporated a 2 kilometer, so a 2 kilometer and a 5 kilometer walk. And then we were approached this year to consider putting a run, having a run. So this year we are adding 2 events, or 3 events, I guess. We're doing a Manitoba sanctioned run. We're doing a 5 and a 10 kilometer run for adults, and for youth 15 and under, 5 kilometer run.
Oh, wow.
So we're kind of excited about
Yeah.
that, and it'll bring hopefully some new people that haven't considered coming before. So everybody that comes and participates, they get a free lunch. We do, we have different, what we say, agencies, organizations come, mental health organizations, and set up education booths and stuff. We also, last year, started doing, as part of the walk, because I think that self-care is a very important part of mental health. So we started inviting some vendors who would bring self-care products for people to kind of, you know, do a little bit of shopping and stuff. So we're excited this year. We have some more people coming. And I guess that's about it for the walk, eh?
The only thing I can think of is like the Manitoba Runners Association. Those runners actually are a fundraiser for us as well, because although they have strict guidelines that we have to follow and whatnot, they actually pay us to let them come and run.
Okay.
So not only are they supporting our cause, but they're actually helping as well as, you know, in the financial part of it as well.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's good. It's been a little bit of a learning curve because we wanted to do it right. So getting involved with the Manitoba Runners Association, then there was lots of guidelines,
Yeah.
but that's good.
Yeah, and do it 1 year, and hopefully you'll get to do it
Yeah.
multiple years.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
So is the walk more than a fundraiser, and like, why is the walk important?
Oh, sorry. The walk's important because it's a sense of community. We've always held the run in Souris, but the funds are used throughout Westman. There's still a lot of stigma around mental health and suicide, so you know, we want to get people together that support one another, that can show one another that you're not alone. It shows that mental illness is, like Cathy said, no different than, you know, having a physical illness or another kind of illness.
Yeah.
It's still a barrier for people, and I think as time goes on, that's just growing and growing and growing, the need. The mental health need is out there, like, it just seems to be growing leaps and bounds, and you know, we need to try and do our part
Yeah,
to help.
absolutely. So what could a person or like an organization or community do to help support the cause?
Well, I guess in particular with our walk, number one is they could participate in our walk. We have like individuals, and we do, you can enter a team, and then people could, you know, collect pledges or whatever, and that would support us that way. We have a silent auction, so people can donate a gift or whatever for the silent auction. We could also have sponsors, like for, like, kind of like, you know, we do a golf tournament, you sponsor a hole. We could have like somebody sponsor a kilometer, and you could set up, you know, at that kilometer, and probably do some advertising, and maybe had a
Put
water
a little banner or something.
Yeah. And one thing that has become come to my attention about the run is apparently these runners like lots of noise and lots of encouragement and lots of commotion. So they said like other places people set up along the route.
To
So-
cheer them on. like,
Yeah, cheer and
nice.
play music. And
Yeah.
so, if you're out in your front lawn and they're running by, you could cheer. So, that would help the runners.
Yeah.
And then just, I think in general, like if people just get our name out there, like let people know what we do, just the more we can get our name out there, the more hopefully people we can help.
Mhm.
So just let people know who we are.
Yeah, get it
Yeah,
out there.
Even
yeah.
just have them come that day. If they're not a sponsor or they haven't donated or anything, that's fine. Come, see what we're about.
Yeah.
Check out some of our supplies, our resources. Get a feeling for what we do.
Mhm.
And like Cathy said, we always provide lunch for the participants. This year we've decided to also have lunch available for community. So if you want to come on down and have a look, the run typically ends, just around noon. Come down, talk with the people, the participants, have a look, whatever. Grab a hot dog or a drink or something. We won't be charging for that. It will be provided. If you want to give us a donation, that's fine. But if you just want to come and just check it out, see what we can do, like what they can do.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that we've always tried to do is make it a positive event. We do encourage people to bring their children. We usually have, some coloring games or, something for the kids. It's a serious topic, suicide, but I think that we need to, it's just a point of gathering together in a positive place and having a good experience. So we encourage.
And making it okay, like making the mental illness okay,
Yeah,
taking
It
that
might be
stigma
something
away.
as simple as having somebody come that's maybe struggling within, but have not let anyone know. And they come and they go, oh, I know her. And they might just casually get talking or feel comfortable talking with one another, maybe not coming up to one of our vendor booths, but just casually talking to other people.
it's opening that door, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for the walk, if people couldn't actually do the walk, they can still get pledges. Like if there's
Sure.
more than just actually doing the walk, that if someone wanted to help out, they could be at the water stations or helping. Like
exactly.
there's lots of places that if someone just can't do the walk
Yeah.
because of maybe their physical illness or whatever,
Right.
there's lots of things to
Yeah,
come and
we
help
have-
volunteer.
We have some vendors that are coming, they say, oh, we're gonna gather donations as well. So they're gonna get their pledges, but they said, I won't be walking because they wanna man their tables.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. You might
Just-
have
just come.
family. Yeah,
Just come.
just come.
Like
Yeah.
we had a lady that came last year and she didn't do the walk. She came, she brought a prize for the silent auction and she just stayed at the rink and she couldn't walk because of a physical limitation, but she had lost a granddaughter to suicide. So she felt that she wanted to be there to support us and she did.
Yeah. Perfect. What question are we on? 10. What kind of projects are you currently working on?
Well, that's kind of a loaded question. Typically, we try and do projects within different communities, and we still are. But this year, we've kind of taken it on to maybe do a bit more of a push on the Souris area, just because that's where we're based. So one thing we're working on is we've contacted the school, and we would like to partner with them to help bring mental health issues to make it part of their curriculum in the school. covering anywhere from kindergarten right up until staff. We all have heard of people, you know, students that have unfortunately lost their lives. And students are such a vulnerable group as well. So we're thinking, you know, younger years, even at that, it can just be something as simple as understanding their emotions, you know, and as you get closer up to high school, you know, peer pressure and, you know, the drugs, the addictions, all of that.
And even in high school, understanding their emotions.
Oh, exactly.
Right? Like even
Yeah.
then, they still don't know
Yeah, so we
why
would-
they're having those feelings,
Yeah.
right?
Right, so we would like to get in there and do some more work. We have been talking to the vice principals, and so, you know, that work is going to continue. It's going to take a while to get it implemented into a curriculum, hopefully. So as a result of that, we've had 2 other schools in 2 other communities say, hey, what's this we're hearing about Surus? Hey, what might you be able to do for us?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just hopefully going to flourish from
That's
there.
good, yeah.
You get one project planned and executed, and then it doesn't take a lot more work to carry that to another community and hopefully see a domino effect. Another thing we have working for us is, that we're working on, of course, is the run. Another thing for the fall, we were hoping to, we've been in discussions with a gentleman from BC. He is a former NHL draftee. It's kind of his story of going through the ranks, getting drafted into the NHL, making some poor choices, ending up with issues with addictions and living on the streets in Vancouver, and, you know, just lost everything, and his struggle during that time. And he has now turned his life around. He's a mental health advocate. And so we are looking at possibly getting him here in September, maybe October. So we want to focus on minor hockey throughout Westman, and maybe some of the junior hockey teams as well, and have an event and have some speakers and resources and whatnot available, and let him tell his story. And a lot of kids are under pressure this year, any year, you know, am I going to make the rep team? Am I going to, you know, be the first line? Am I, you know, there's just so much pressure. So hopefully he can share his story, and they can learn from that and take some direction from that. He has actually been working with a young person in our community, kind of one-on-one. He has podcasts. He's just been a great resource to have. So we're looking at having him here. And another thing that is on our radar is a men's mental wellness event. So we're not really sure on that. We're really in the beginning. We have connected ourselves with Buddy Up program, which is mental health for men, and it's a national program, and it actually takes place in June.
Yes.
But for our farming community, we're thinking that's maybe not the best time to have an event. So, you know, maybe we'll get something in line for Movember. You know, be part of that Movember push for mental health. So yeah, focusing on men, and
Yes,
you know, it's hard.
June's not a good month for us with the walk, because there's a lot of preparation, and then it's kind of like, oh. And so this to
Right
get-
after it,
So, but
And
we are gathering information and resources and and stuff.
And then in July, we have our annual golf tournament. So, you know, there's that. We were out talking with people today, and another suggestion that came forward, which we thought was excellent, so we're going to put it on our radar, is mental health for seniors, because we did reach out, or they had reached out to us from Hamiota, and we did something there. So the topic came up about, you know, seniors and being alone, and so we talked about maybe going into like care homes or manors or, you know, Victoria Park Lodge, something like that, and getting youth involved. So that might be something we work on maybe closer to Christmas when, things get tough for people, if they don't have family close. So, maybe make that connection between, I don't know if it's like adopt a grandparent or what. We haven't put any work into that yet, but it was a suggestion that came up. And we thought it was a good one.
From a young person.
Absolutely.
It was a young person that brought it up, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Awesome.
there's lots of opportunities
Yes.
out there.
There is.
Yeah.
And we want people to approach us and
Yeah.
say, you know what, I was thinking about, I had one person approach me and say, have you ever done anything like a retreat for couples? And there was another idea,
Yeah.
Couples that are struggling for whatever reason, whether it is because of loss or whatever. So that's another suggestion. So, yeah, if people have suggestions, and even if they have a plan, we don't necessarily have to do the work on it, but we would be there to assist and direct and provide some funding and, let people run projects in their areas.
Yeah. Just give them a little bit of help.
Yeah.
Excuse me. How do you measure the success of the organization?
Well, I think if through anything we do, if we could save one person from suicide, or we can make someone's life easier by education or resources that we've provided, that's a success.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if people wanted to connect with you, how do they do that?
Well, there's several ways. They can call either Cathy or I directly. Cathy's phone number is 721-4944. My phone number is 483-0302. Or you can check out our website or our email address. So the email is westmanwellness@gmail.com. And our website is westmanwellness.ca.
And our website actually right now is under construction.
Okay.
So hopefully it's going to be up and running shortly, but we do have a website and it will be available, I think, by the beginning of May.
Perfect. So at this point, just use the
The
phone numbers or emails?
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be best, yeah.
Perfect. Well, any last thoughts that we maybe haven't covered yet?
I don't think so. We just really would like to see a good turnout that day. And like I said, not necessarily, with our hand out looking for donations or whatever, but come and check us out.
Participation,
Yeah.
right?
Participate.
Come
Get
in.
some information.
Yeah.
We usually have the walk a different weekend, but because of the spring fling for Souris, we decided to change our date to a week later. So we didn't conflict with that. We're expecting, with the run and whatnot and the garage sales, it might have been too much.
A little dangerous.
So we did change, and so hopefully that way we get a better turnout as well, because maybe people won't be so busy with that weekend. They might have time to come and sit, have something to eat, have a chat, grab some resources, whatever.
Perfect.
And I'd just like to add, as like a committee, we're not mental health professionals, but if someone needs help with something, we will definitely work with them to find the help that they need. The other thing, my dream when we started this was I did want it to be a Westman thing. I wanted to have support for this rural area, and so we would love for people from other communities, we are getting some, but to come on board. And I think the more people we have, the more discussion we have, the more valuable projects we can do, because every community is going to have their thing. Like Brenda said, every community has kind of their own thing.
Yeah.
And so I think that, we could really make a good, strong network in Westman.
Yeah.
And that was when we started, that was my vision.
Yeah.
The first few years were focused mostly on building the foundation, you know. We'd have to pay, you know, we had to pay for our charity, you know, so there went several $1,000s.
Yeah.
Our money being put out seemed to be legality-wise.
Right. Yeah.
And so we didn't feel we had as much money to do projects. And we didn't have many people as
Yeah.
well. But now we're to the point, I think, that all that groundwork has been done. We are ready to go to work.
We
We
are.
are ready to
We're ready to rock and
Help.
roll.
Get into as many communities as you can.
Yeah,
exactly.
do as much good as we can.
Yeah.
And like I said at the beginning, this has kind of been my healing process, was with the realization that this is what I wanted to do. Like, I lost my son, but I'm going to try and do something positive out of that loss.
Yeah.
And I think, like Brenda said, we're at that point now where I kind of feel like I've fulfilled that,
Yeah.
that, I guess, promise to myself, that this would be a way to honor his life as to help other people, and yeah.
Yeah, so the more people we can get on board, the more projects we can have going at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So,
Well, thank you so much for being here and for doing this, for
Thank
for
you.
having this vision that you guys have had and doing this for you and for your son. And he would be proud, I would think. I didn't know him, but I would think he'd be proud of you. This has been Spotlight on Souris for April 6, 2023. I'm Cindy Russell. Have a good night.